Hello, everybody. Scott Zambelli here, and I'm with.
Hi, this is Jill Webler, and we are Team Titans out of Realty Executives in Shelby Township, Michigan.
That's right. We've been shelter in place for so long, we're forgetting where we're from.
Oh, who are we?
Right? Exactly. But we're still here, still alive and kicking, and that's good. So let me do a quick little share. If you're tuning in here, we'd appreciate if you could also share it on your pages or do it as a watch party. That way, everybody who's friends with you on there, they can join the fun and see where we're at. We welcome you to also, if you want to join us on the feed, let us know. We will send you an invite link. We can always do that as well. So yeah, so here we are. Today is Wednesday, April Fool's Day,
Yeah.
which brings its own hazards normally.
And my daughter too, she's like, it's not April yet. I said, you know what? You're right. It's March 32nd.
Let's see here. That's right. So unfortunately, it's not letting me. Oh wait, I have to share it as myself, and then I think I can share to a friend's page. So I'm trying to share this to Jill's page right now because share to a page. Share
Yeah.
now.
My
Try and find
my laptop's not letting me
here.
do too much here today.
Here we go. Share on a friend's timeline. Watch, you probably have your security settings, so I can't do it. Let's see if it'll pull up your name. Jill Webler. And join in the fun. All right, let's see if it shares. Post. All right, so it is now on your page. Yeah, so
Thank you.
Today's April Fool's Day. There's been an April Fool's prank going around for Michigan parents to play on their kids, and Jill joined in on that fun.
I did. Are you able to pull that up to show what the prank is? And then I'll tell the story about how my kids reacted to this.
Oh, I don't. Well, I might be able to find it on here. Let's see here.
If you go to my
Well,
Facebook page, you'll see it.
did you post it?
I did, yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me go find your Facebook here.
Okay.
So over on Jill's page here, there it is. Okay, so I'm gonna switch you over here so people can see. Share screen. We're gonna do share. So here's where you're gonna see here.
Okay. Yep.
This here was the post that Jill shared with her kids.
Yeah. So I did not show them together. I did it separately. So I brought my phone over to my daughter Alexis, and yeah, so I showed her, and she read it. Of course, she didn't believe it. She's like, is this for real? And so she actually picked up her phone and was getting ready to text her friends. Like she was gonna, I mean, she was like lit, and she was gonna get to the bottom of this. So she was not happy at all at the thought of repeating school, another grade. And then I did my younger daughter Ava. She's in 7th grade, and she same thing. She was like, no, is this for real? Absolutely not. She's like, that's it. I'm quitting school. Like she was not going to have any part of it.
Yeah. Now,
Then
here's the thing, though. Everybody's doing this as an April Fool's joke, but the reality is tomorrow, Governor Whitmer is giving an official announcement about the schools. So this might be real tomorrow.
no. Well, as I was playing this out, I said to my girls, I said, well, a lot of the kids, some were at a point of maybe not passing, and they needed the rest of that semester or semesters to get their grade brought up so that it's fair for everyone. And the more
Well,
as I'm telling them, I'm like, oh my God, this could really happen.
it can really
Because
happen, especially with the mindset that some people have.
yeah,
That like some people
so
do think that that's fair for anyone. I personally disagree. Whenever you tend to have two different political mindsets of what equality is. And unfortunately, for too many people, equality is when two people are unequal, you knock the person down who has achieved more to bring them down to the lower level instead of lifting the lower person up to a higher level.
Yeah.
You know, we do have a word for people who aren't passing their regular classes though, and that's called summer school. So,
Yeah.
you know, this could be
Well,
a lesson in why you need to do good all year round, not wait till the very end.
well, yeah, and I know, I have a daughter with special needs, so I do know there are some real challenges for,
Oh
some people
yeah.
have true learning disabilities, and so they need a little extra help. So I don't know what the answer is to this and what the governor's going to come up with, but as I was playing out the
Well,
joke, I thought, boy, this really could happen.
in all seriousness, I really think the answer is simple. People are going to complain and not want to do it, but I think the answer is you make this the summer vacation now. You just declare this is
Yeah,
summer break. We
yeah,
will resume in the upcoming year, and we'll resume in July or whatever this is all lifted, and you will half your school year is already done. You finish the other half during summer. It can be an accelerated pace, even just like college when you have summer classes. All of this stuff can be done.
yeah. There's a lot of schools, even in this area, that are doing year-round schooling. I know
Oh
Warren
yeah.
County has some. They have some schools that are doing it. So it's just a matter of reprogramming our thinking and figuring out
Yeah.
ways to make this work.
So what are you guys thinking? If you were to, what's your solution? Do they just say everybody passes and moves on? Do you say everybody fails and redoes next year? Do we make this the summer vacation now? Or is there some other
So,
idea you have? What are you guys thinking? If anyone has thoughts on this, feel free to type it in the comments. We'll post them on the screen here. Or if you have a camera accessible and you want to pop in to talk with us, you're welcome to do so as well. So yeah, so that it's going to be here's the problem. And now I am not a Governor Whitmer fan at all, but to be fair to her, no matter what answer she gives, at least 30-40% of everybody's going to be unhappy.
that's right.
There's not going to be one solution that makes everybody happy.
Correct. That's
Yeah,
true.
so
So we'll just have to see what she comes back with. Another option is, and I have homeschooled my kids. You can do online schooling, and they can move at a pace that works for them. That's an option too, to get everybody caught up. So I don't know. I think there's definitely some options. We'll just have to wait and see what they come up with. So.
yeah, I agree. So yeah, so for today, it's been a busy day here. I've never been a fan of April Fool's Day. I despise it. There was a funny April Fool's joke though that came up online for the nerds out there. There's actually quite a few, but the one that I found, let me see if I can pull it up real quick here. We talked about it briefly on Odd Musings today, my show I have on Wednesdays from 10 to 11. Let's see here. It was this is what's funny. It's making the rounds. It's actually an older April Fool's joke, but it gets recycled every year, and here it is here. So I'm going to say share. I gotta get faster at doing these shares. There we go. So this one here, you'll see it on the right-hand side of the screen. You see Spock there with Mickey Mouse ears, and it says Disney buys Star Trek. So that was the joke.
News, right?
Yeah. So that was the joke going around today. So that was a funny one as well.
I know. I
Definitely.
don't know. Playing jokes can be fun, but some people can take it too far. So I understand why you're not a fan of it.
Yeah,
And sometimes
one of
people
my
can get
friends,
a little.
one of my friends, Carrie Alexander. She was a coworker back in the day, and actually Jill briefly met her. She was the one ran the marathon last
Yeah,
year, and her family is like insane about April 1st. They do these over the top pranks to each other, and I mean it's crazy, but too much for me. I'm not a
did
fan
they
of
do
all that
any
stuff.
pranks today?
What?
Did they do any pranks today?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't. I didn't see anything get posted, but like they've done things where you fill up the car with balloons. So
Yeah.
when the person comes out, their entire car is filled with helium balloons, or then you see the ones online where people will put toilet paper um, across the doorway so it looks clear. Not toilet paper, saran wrap
Yeah.
over the
Yeah.
doorway, and then you walk right into it because you couldn't see it. So things like that. It's all in good natured fun, but I don't want to deal with that stuff. I don't want paybacks down the road. So how about
No,
your
I
family? Do
get
you
it.
guys do April Fool's jokes?
We don't. No.
No, yeah, I'm not
My,
big on that either.
you know, even when I showed them that text saying that school, they had to repeat a grade of school, they had no idea it was even April Fool. So I'd explain it's the 1st of April. We played jokes like, oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, so they weren't even that
No, they
aware
weren't
of it.
expecting it. No.
Well, instead of April Fool's jokes, though, there are some really good news stories that come up every day. And so I thought we could share a couple of those good news stories. This is actually, it's from sunnyskies.com. That's sunnyskYz.com. They share all good news. It's one of those happy sites, and we have a lot of yucky news out there, so it's always fun to have these good news stories
I
as well.
agree.
So two stories came up today and one yesterday that we'll cover real quick. I don't know if you recall, there was that student who brought a gun to school about a couple months ago, and the football coach or gym teacher, I forget what.
Oh, yeah.
He hugged him and held him and got him disarmed that way. Here we see the video of the surveillance footage where you see people fleeing here, and the teacher had hugged him at that point right there. See him? And
Yeah.
he was able to pull it, and he just kept holding him in a hug, and he hands off the
Yeah.
gun here. It's really spectacular,
Yeah.
really.
Oh,
So
yeah.
anyways, um, that was last May. Oh wow, it's already been almost a year. But anyways, what the news story is about is he's going to receive the Medal of Honor for a Citizen Award today, is for that act that he did there. So
Okay.
pretty amazing
Wow.
story.
Yeah, that touches your heart to see that. Wow.
Yeah, so it says for his bravery and compassion, the Congressional Medal of Honor Foundation has announced that he, and the teacher's name is Keenan Lowe is his name, that he will receive the 2020 Single Act of Heroism Award. He's one of 6 citizens um, chosen by the Congressional Medal of Honor Society. So,
Well
yes,
deserved. I'm glad that he's
yeah,
receiving recognition for that.
yeah, it's one of those, like a good news story.
Yeah.
So there's that. The next story on the list is the hospital cleaning staff surprised with moving round of applause. So,
Oh,
everybody's working hard in the medical field and trying to keep up with the demand. But, you got the cleaning crew who they're the ones taking care of things. Now, this is actually in Spain here. And let's see. I don't think you'll have sound, but that's okay. We can see what happened. So here, as they turn the corner, all the nurses are lined up and
oh,
applauding. So
they
that's pretty
deserve
nice.
that. They're just as important as all the other people working. They're all doing it together. So that's great.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love seeing
I
that.
thought yeah,
Yeah.
that's so nice. So because everyone thinks about the nurses who are on the front lines, but these people are keeping the nurses safe, right?
Right?
Keeping everything sterilized. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Good to
let's see.
see.
How do I get out of this screen now? I went full screen. There we go. And then last but not least, the third story we'll cover on this one is a trooper pulled over a doctor for a speeding ticket, and when the trooper, this is out in Minnesota, when he realized that she was a doctor trying to head to the hospital, he actually rewarded her with a bunch of those N95 masks
Oh,
instead
nice.
of the ticket.
Good.
So, and
I'm
it was
glad to
actually
hear
the
that.
supply he was given for his own protection. He gave her his supply.
Oh,
So
that's
that's,
awesome.
let's see,
I
that's
love
the
hearing
doctor who
stories
was
like
told
that.
him. Yeah.
When you hear
So,
this stuff, it just makes you believe in mankind again. I really feel like this has really brought out the best in people. We're consistently hearing stories about people going out and getting supplies for those residents where it's not really safe for them to get out, maybe because of health issues, or they're, at an age where maybe it's just a high risk group. And I'm seeing where children are doing all these different things, decorating the outside of the home to make when people go for a walk, to let them know that, we're in this together, and, to have joy. And I don't know, it's just bringing out many great things in people. I love it.
yeah. Now here's a bonus story from their page I have to share. All over the internet, everybody is talking about the Tiger King. It's a show on Netflix. And have you been seeing all these posts?
Okay, so I've seen posts. I have not seen the show, so let me start off with that. But it looks like it's something else.
Yeah, so Tiger King, let me see if I can pull up a picture of who Tiger King is, if you don't know. I mean, I have not seen it. I guess it's a documentary on Netflix about these people, and it's kind of crazy. I'll pull up his. It's Exotic Joe, as people are calling him. Let me get his screen up here so you can see what he looks like here. Tiger Joe, Tiger
Someone,
King.
while you're bringing it up, someone posted today, like, if you would have asked me 5 months ago what I would be doing, it's like I never would have thought I would be under quarantine and enthralled in a show about tigers.
Okay, so this person has watched it. Yeah, so if they wanted to pop on and give a review, we can let them know. We can send them an invite link if they want to join us on camera. Because I'm fascinated by it's taken over the world. Here you see Exotic Joe on the screen. You can see all the different Facebook pictures. From what I can tell, this man started buying tigers, and then everyone thinks that the wife here killed him and fed him to the tigers.
Oh, so he's dead?
He's dead, is my understanding. And then, but there's this love triangle where this other guy comes into the picture, and he's with him, and something weird happened. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't seen it, but my Facebook wall, it's 50% Exotic Joe, 50% coronavirus. It's like,
is this a reality TV show, or is it just a made up show?
it's a documentary on Netflix about a real event.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So now the Tiger King memes are all over the place. Now,
Our mortgage lender that we deal with, he replaced his own face with one of these pictures, and he did a very good job.
Right. Now here, was it Manny?
Yeah.
I hear you got this popular meme all the time of the guy looking away from his girlfriend, and the girlfriend looking disgusted. So he represents me, and the girl represents healthy coping mechanisms, and he's looking away from all the stuff about how to be healthy during this time, and he's watching Exotic Joe and his tiger. So let's see.
Now, I'm confused because if Exotic Joe is dead, I saw something about he got some new teeth.
Well, unless it's the other guy, because there's another guy that's in the picture. Like I said, I didn't see it. I just keep seeing posts how people think the wife killed him. So I'm assuming they're talking about him.
Yeah,
this is funny too.
I'm going to look into this more, but I'm not going to look into this. Okay.
Here we got the tiger.
Like it would interest me.
I've been seeing this going around. But it's been expectation versus reality of what I thought the apocalypse was going to be like. And the expectation was Ezekiel and his pet tiger from Walking Dead, but the reality we got was Exotic Joe. So that's been popping up quite a bit. You gotta give him props though. He's got a killer mullet going on there. FaceTiming my hairdresser to ask how I fixed the cut and color I gave myself.
Okay, so since we're talking about hairstyles, I have heard that there are men who are saying that you guys should go without cutting your hair during all of this and let it just free flow grow as long as you can get it, beard, hair, all of it. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's dumb. And do whatever you want to do with your hair.
You could try to do the mullet. Now's a chance. No one will judge you if you do it.
Yeah, but and then people are also posting how you should shave it off, shave your beard, shave everything off. So it's do what you want. That's my theory. But I have to ask you, can you identify with this meme here? FaceTiming my hairdresser to ask how I fixed the cut and color I gave myself.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. So if I'm going to be very transparent, I am going to say I can relate to this. I have been known in many past years to try to color my hair myself. Mine did not turn. The goal was to go blonde, but I ended up going orange. So I went to several hairdressers who all refused to fix it because they were afraid my hair was going to fall out of my head.
Oh boy!
And I did find one lady that's like, I think I can fix it, and she did. But that was my lesson in don't try to lighten your hair yourself at home.
Right. This one is very accurate. This is how I feel. So you got Exotic Joe there representing people who have seen the Tiger King. You got the bottle being force-fed to the baby tiger. Those are the Tiger King memes. And the tiger represents people who have not seen the Tiger King. That's how I feel. I don't even have an interest in this, but a part of me is starting to want to see it just because I don't know what the memes are about.
Well, I learned a new term, FOM. Is it FOM? Fear of being left out. Or missing out. Fear of missing out. Maybe that's what you're experiencing.
I know. Maybe. Let's see. I'll just do a couple more here. It's that point in 2020. Everyone has a tough choice to make. Choose a cult leader. I don't know. See, I probably have to watch Tiger King to even know what that means. Oh, here we go. Is everyone just going to forget about these OGs now?
Oh, yeah.
Siegfried and Roy, I believe it was Roy who was attacked. I gotta say, I got to see them live. They weren't that good. I don't get their popularity. They were a mediocre magic act combined with a mediocre animal show.
So the line, I think, were probably brought on just to try to distract you from how bad they were with their magic. Perhaps.
Maybe, but I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's not easy performing with tigers, but they were by far the highest price ticket in Vegas when I went. This was back in 1998. So it's a long time now. Yeah. Geez, 22 years ago. But they were by far the highest price ticket. Cirque du Soleil was little known at the time. I went and saw them for a fraction of the price of Siegfried and Roy, and I was blown away by Cirque du Soleil. They were so amazing. It was an amazing experience. Siegfried and Roy was just awful. Not awful. I shouldn't say awful. But for the price I paid and the expectations I had going in, I walked out just saying, that was it? Yeah. It just mediocre magic with mediocre animals. That's how I felt. Now, I do wish I saw them on the night my dad saw them. My father went and saw them. And there's a part where they bring an elephant out on the stage. Well, the night my dad went, the elephant peed. And it was like a fire hose. Now, in the front like 5 rows are like all of these like super wealthy people. the tickets are insanely
Paid top
priced.
money for their tickets. Yeah.
Oh, they pay top money, and they're dressed in top fashion. Like they are
Oh yeah.
expensive dresses,
Yeah.
expensive suits. These people are all done up. And that elephant just sprayed them like a fire hose. And my dad said you could hear everyone screaming in terror, people just diving for cover behind tables. And
Oh.
I
Well, your
wish
dad
I
was
was
having
there
the
that
best
night.
tickets in the house. He got to see that view.
That would have made it worth everything. My dad was far back enough. He paid for the cheaper seats, so he didn't have to worry. But oh, that would have made it so worth it
That's
to see.
hilarious. So did they end the show or did they keep going? Did he say?
You know, I don't remember the rest of the story after that. I was just so enthralled with that part that I never I never went on. I don't even remember. I'll have to ask him what happened. But I can say I had went and saw them a night or two after that. And everybody in the first like 5 rows had the rain ponchos on. And so they gave them out to everybody. And
Oh
so
man.
it looked like a Gallagher show, how Gallagher would explode that fruit with the mallet and everyone would have the plastic on. That's how it looked
Yeah.
at Siegfried anyway.
Oh
But
my God, that is so funny.
yeah, crazy times there. But so I got off track there. Tiger King sidetracked me. Let's finish up our story on Sunny Skies. So when we go back here, the fun story was is if Tiger King was in Game of Thrones, which I don't think you ever saw Game of Thrones.
No, I did not.
So here we got, now this is the girl everyone thinks killed their husband. So they're
Okay.
saying she would be Cersei Lannister. Cersei Lannister was a horrible evil queen. So that's her. Joe Exotic would be Jon Snow. Jon Snow ends up being the main hero in the whole storyline. Let's see. Oops. Kelsey, I don't know him. That would be Jaime Lannister. Jeff Lowe would be Littlefinger. Littlefinger was a very devious person. He was kind of responsible for the deaths of many characters behind the scenes. This guy would be the Hound. Let's see. The Hound was a fierce fighter in there. Varys. Anyways, Samuel Tarly. The Night King was the ultimate bad guy, so that would be this guy here. So, anyways, that would be them as Game of Thrones. So, anyways, I thought that was funny.
Well, I enjoyed that. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah,
Well,
so now you came across a story.
I did. So let's see if it'll show up there. There we go. So as anybody watching knows that Scott and I are realtors. We're on a team called Team Titans, and part of this job allows us. Well, we get to see many things. We get to meet all different kinds of people, and we get to see all different kinds of homes. And one of the things we do when our customers buy a home is we go with them for their home inspection. And so we have seen some very unique ways that people have tried to repair things in their home or design things in their home. So I thought this article would be very relatable. It's called 100 Things Homeowners Have Done to Their Homes. So I thought we could just kind of go through this. Now I've not gone through all of them, so some of these are going to be a surprise to me too. But this first one, this homeowner put their air conditioned unit in the attic. Now, 99% of the time we see the air conditioned units outside of the home. Actually, I've never seen one in the attic. So this is the first time I personally have seen this, which obviously is not a good idea. Let's see. It can be,
yeah.
I'm just trying to see why they did it.
You gotta be careful with it because of the potential moisture up there. Plus, also you're using super hot air if it's not vented right.
Right. So if you don't have it vented right, you could have a lot of condensation in your attic, which would encourage mold growth. So not a good idea at all.
Come spring or summer, when you first turn it on that first time after it's sat all winter long, with potential condensation, you could actually give yourself Legionnaires. So you gotta be
Yeah, that's
careful
a
with
good
that.
point. Yeah. And not to mention, air conditioned units are generally heavy. So it probably would eventually cause some damage to your ceiling, I would think, that it's sitting on. So
Mhm.
not a good idea. All right, let's go to the next one. Let me give it a second to catch up here. All right, there we go. I'm waiting for it to, okay. ADA compliant. It's hard to say which way is scarier, going up or going down. I don't know if you can see this right here. I'm pointing
Oops.
to it with my mouse. Oh,
Hold on a second. I accidentally switched over your screen. I was getting my next screen ready.
oh yeah, that's okay.
So where are you? There you are, Ed. There we go.
Give it a
It's
second
coming
to
up.
come back up. Yeah.
There
All
we
right,
go.
there we go. So you can see there's a stairway. So it's about what would be scarier, to go up or down. No
And
railing.
this is to be ADA compliant, which is the
Yeah,
American Disabilities Act. That does not look ADA. That does not qualify as a ramp.
no, they're saying it's probably a dog ramp and not
Oh, got
for
it. I was
people,
gonna
but
say. I was trying to figure out how a wheelchair could go up that.
yeah. All right, let's see what the next one is. Oh, wow. All right, I'll give it a second to load up on the screen there. Adjustable support column. Um, this is a
Ooh,
steel pin, I guess that says that was used to temporarily as a support column. Now,
right.
we have seen homes where they have hired professionals and support columns have been brought in and put in the right places so that it shores up the
Right.
integrity of the home.
There's a proper way to
Yeah,
put a support column in.
yeah, but this does not look like it would be in compliance.
Well, first of all, it's upside down. Um, the adjustable part, see how narrow it is down at the bottom?
Yeah,
That should be
yeah,
up at the top.
yeah, yeah. It does not look safe. I'm
Yeah, and
thinking
that
that.
is meant to be a temporary support, not a permanent support. So yeah, that would be a little scary there.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one. Let's see. I think that's an
You know, there's
AI.
100 slides here.
We don't have to go through all of them.
Yeah, maybe just when you see some that are the best. Bad
Yeah.
deck support.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
So,
look at that.
yep. So that does not look like it would be safe. Looks like it would collapse at any time. So that would be something when you get your home inspected, that hopefully your inspector would pick up on, to see that there's not great support. All right, so let's see. This next one. Oh, it's an emergency escape. And it says it looks bolted to the roof and there's a chain to help keep it in place. So yeah, I don't know how safe that would be. I guess if there's a fire, you'll take anything you can to try to get out safely, but that does not look safe.
Interesting.
All right, let's go to the next one. Um,
But what this
okay.
brings up is a good point. When you have a house and you want to do any kind of updates, repairs, alterations, the best thing to do is contact your local municipality. Find out, do you need permits for whatever it is that you're doing? Because when you go to sell the house, if you did not pull permits for the work that you had done, you could potentially become liable for things if they go wrong, or if you don't disclose them, they could actually come back. There's a story of a house I remember from, about 15 years ago, I want to say. They had built a second edition. It was a ranch style home. They made it into a colonial, but they did not pull permits. And when they sold the house years later, they did not disclose that they did not pull permits for this work. Now, one thing you will always learn in real estate, the second you move out, any neighbor that does not like you, on day one of the new people moving in, they come over and tell everything you ever did wrong in that house.
Yes, they do.
And, yep, they cannot wait to tell the new owners how crappy your house is.
Yeah. And so if you
They,
had work done and did not pull a permit, you can be
it
sure
will
they
find
will
out.
let the new owners know.
So,
Yeah.
so in the case of this particular house that I'm talking about, it was no permits were pulled. New people moved in. It was discovered that no permits were pulled for the second story. So they took the previous owners to court, and it was determined here. This was the solution. The judge ordered that the previous homeowner pay to have the entire second floor removed and a
Ooh.
whole new one built. So it
Oh,
wasn't just have inspections done to make sure it passed code. They had to have a whole new one built. So the
oh,
seller paid for the full dismantling and the full rebuild. So that cost them a lot, not pulling those permits. So
yes,
pull
it
the
did.
permit. That's what
Yeah,
this that's what
yeah,
you learn here in this story here.
absolutely. All right, so the picture that's up now is just showing how they try to stabilize this stairway going up to
Yeah, I
the
don't think
second floor.
that's the code.
That would not be the code. I agree. All
Yeah,
right.
that's not the code.
Oh, this one. Okay, so the reason why they're showing you this one is the bad roof design. So water will win in all situations, and
Yeah.
it will damage if you do not have water correctly draining away from your home.
Right.
It will for sure cause damage. So in this
And
case, this
water
roof,
will always flow to the lowest point.
yes. So this roof, as you can tell, it's angled towards the structure here, and so you know you can tell they put some gutters up. They're trying to move the water away from there, but I'm willing to bet where the structure and this roof meet, there's probably some water damage.
And
So
even
you want,
if it is flowing away from the house there, if the gutters are doing their job right, every single time it rains, that water is going to flow to that brick right where the corner is there, that low point against the
yeah,
house, and
yeah,
slowly erode the brick away. So even if
yeah,
it's moving away properly, it's going to reduce the life of the brick over there. That's
yeah,
best case scenario. Worst case scenario, it's not draining away properly, and the water will actually seep along the wall, work its way down into the foundation, and cause damage there.
yeah. So that's something you definitely want to be on the lookout for when you're looking for a home or a commercial building, whatever. And your inspector is going to help you point out
Yeah.
that that's an issue. So,
Yeah.
all right. So let's go to the next one. Oh, wow. Baseboard heater in the crawl space. All right. So, not all homes have basements. Some homes are on
Wow.
crawl spaces. And so there's always the
Not.
issue.
Oh my God!
What,
And it's plugged into an outlet in an area where it could get water.
yeah, like I just feel like this is a fire that's going to happen like any second.
Oh yeah! Wow. There is so
So,
much wrong with that picture.
yeah, this is so wrong.
This
So,
also shows you why we always recommend home inspections. Uh, the inspectors we recommend, they always go under the house in crawl spaces or into foundations whenever possible. And to see this kind of stuff, this is the stuff you
yeah.
don't know when you're buying a house, what's hidden underneath.
Now
And
we had a customer not too long ago. There was a crawl space to the house, and it was covered up. We were unable to initially go into the crawl space. So we had to go out for a second inspection. The homeowners had to provide a way for the crawl space to be looked
which,
at.
yeah,
And
which I think,
when they,
well, go ahead, finish, and then I'll follow up.
okay. So when the inspector was finally able to gain access to the crawl space, it was completely filled with garbage, is my understanding. I wasn't at the second inspection. I believe you were, Scott. Uh,
Yes.
but it was, I'll let you take it from there since you actually saw it.
Right. So the access point to the crawl space was actually covered, and they were trying desperately to get us to waive the inspection. They were right off the bat. They were offering us huge discounts in price if we just
Yeah,
waived the inspection right away.
yeah,
That's a huge, huge red flag. And
yeah,
okay,
Something like
You know, when the counter offer is, hey, can we cut the price even more for you? It's like, wait a minute, what's going
yeah,
on? So, anyways, the cover was turned out to be concealed by they put the hot water tank right on top of it, so you couldn't get access to it. And I think they were hoping someone would just ignore it.
yeah,
Once we forced their hand and made it continue, the whole deal wouldn't happen unless they opened that up for us to go inside. Then it was, oh, it's filled with stuff, and they had to clear it out. Long story short, we finally get to the crawl space. It is filled with horrible water that looked like it was long standing there. It was very dirty, and it may have been sewage water on top of it. So, I mean, my theory is I'm pretty sure they knew that problem and they were trying to cover it up and find a buyer who would not do an inspection. So,
yeah,
it's easy for people to say, well, I'd rather save that $400 or $300 or whatever it costs for your, the inspector you choose. I'd rather save that money because the house looks fine to me. But those inspectors, they find way more. You'll know more about the house than the previous homeowner did.
yeah.
And we always
Exactly.
recommend it. That's why, same with the sewer scope inspections we recommend, radon tests we recommend. We have the general inspections, and then there's some other specialized ones too, depending on what your particular needs are. So we definitely recommend those inspections, because like this picture you're looking at here, that's the kind of thing you might find in inspection where, had you not got it, how often do people go and crawl through their crawl space? That might have been left plugged in for years to come, and then one day become a fire, and the new homeowner would never know.
Right. Yeah.
So
this is a good example of why you need an inspection.
Yeah.
All right.
That's really important. And someone out there, when they put that up, they were like, they thought they were the smartest person on the planet.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I'll put baseboard heating down there. Yeah.
So I'm just going to kind of gloss through some of these. This was just a beam that was through the chimney, it looks like.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, what the heck?
Let's see, bedroom
closet doors.
Oh, they switched around the doorknob, which is pretty easy, but let's see.
The locks are on the outside.
Oh, because it's locked on the outside.
Did they lock their children into the closet? Those locks are not on the correct side.
Right. So that's concerning.
Remember, we did a showing not long ago at a house, and they had locks on the outside of the bedroom doors.
Yeah. And so our buyers, we kind of joked around about it, but we're like, hey, what was this used for?
Well, I think it was to lock children in. Wow. Yeah.
I hope not. But yes, we do see
some. You put the lock on the outside.
Yeah. Oh, this is interesting. A bent outlet cover.
So they probably took a hair dryer. I know this technique well from building my Stormtrooper gear. When you have to bend the plastic, you can put a hair dryer to it, put it on high, or I use a heat gun, and you just melt it just enough to bend it to the shape you want, and then when it cools, it'll stay in that position. So I have a feeling that's what they did here.
Yeah. Creative, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I don't see a hazard with that, but it's odd. That's for sure.
It is odd. Here they've got, is this a secret vault? We have seen doors that were we wonder, like, what does this go to? Why is it even here? I don't know. Is it a hidden room? All right, let's see. There's an ad. Oh my word. So they used a boulder for the footing of this.
Oh, yeah, that looks stable.
Yeah.
Once again, if you have a home inspection, you might catch that. So
yeah,
it's very important to. What is that?
It says buried oil tank in the basement. Oil tanks aren't always easy to spot, but this place had one once. And
Yep.
it appears there was a tank there, and then there was some fuel around it. So
Yeah. Which you
right?
may have contaminated soil at that point underneath the house, which can be
Yeah,
very costly to get fixed.
yeah,
And if you're buying a house, it becomes a responsibility of the seller or the owner to fix. So if you don't catch that and you buy that house, then a couple of years later you find out the soil is contaminated, it's your responsibility, and that can
yeah.
be
And that can
tens
be
of thousands
very
of dollars.
costly.
Yeah.
All right, this
All
next
right, let's
one.
just do a couple more. Just a couple more.
Okay. They decided to have the cable go through the fence. The fence was in the way, so they just have it going through.
Okay. Oh, there you have it.
Oh, carpet over floor register. So they had one of those tools where it
Ooh.
picks up heat, and
Yep.
they, instead of cutting out for the register, they just carpeted right over it. So we would not recommend that.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to do that.
Oh, so this is in the basement. They decided to use carpet padding as their insulation.
Oh, okay.
I've not seen
Interesting.
that before. Oh, wow. This makes me nervous. Look at the fan blade. So it's hung up in a ceiling
Wow.
that, yeah, that makes me nervous. It's titled "I too like to live dangerously."
Yeah, well, fans like to wobble, you know. They
Yeah,
wobble when they operate, so you just do one wobble too
yeah.
much.
All right. So there's many more,
Wow.
but we
A
can,
chandelier in the attic.
yeah,
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 so, well, very cool. Thanks for sharing
yeah,
that.
absolutely.
All right. Okay, so one of the topics we wanted to talk about today for the real estate portion is vacant land. So we are in this time period where you can't, um, we can't do physical showings of properties right now. We can do virtual tours and things like that. You can do a drive-by on the outside of the property, but unfortunately we can't bring you inside. This part of the real estate function has been deemed non-essential. So deals are still happening. We know we have some friends in the business who they've had listings sell based on the virtual tours. But Jill and I were talking, and one of the things that are really easy right now that you could focus on is if you're looking at vacant land. This is a great time for you if you've been thinking about buying some land to build on or just to have. And so we thought we would spotlight a couple of the vacant land pieces that we have through our office right now that's currently available. Beautiful thing about vacant land, you can see it through the pictures. You can look on Google Maps to see the aerial view, and you can drive by and see the property from street level. And so you don't have the same worries that you have as with a house. So we want to just point out a couple pieces that are currently available for sale here. Right now we have 11 properties out there. So I'll go a little quick here just to point them out. This one here, this is over in Clinton Township near, this is over by Hayes and, Hayes and, I think
Utica,
that's
Hayes and
Hayes and
Utica,
Utica. Yeah.
by
And
16 Mile Road area.
yeah, our friend and fellow realtor at Realty Executives, Kathy Marsh, has this one listed. Just wanted to show you a couple quick shots. You know, it's harder and harder to find vacant land in Macomb County that's south of Hall Road, you know?
Right. And this
So,
is a nice size. It's 2.85 acres.
yeah, that's a great size, and it's well priced. So, you know, if you're looking for some vacant land, here's one for you. You know, just over 2 acres, like Jill said, and it also has it has water and sewer at the street level, so that's a nice option too. So you just have to connect to the street when you build. So great
Yeah.
spot, definitely. And let's see here. We'll go to the next one here. Now this one is on Gratiot in Columbus Township. Now this is St. Clair Township. So this is like you're starting to get more out towards the Port Huron area. This is actually Richmond Community Schools. So, I mean, it's not, I shouldn't say Port Huron area. That's too far. Richmond isn't that far. Feels like it sometimes when you're driving there, but no, it's not that far. It's a little past, how would you describe Richmond? About 20 minutes past New Baltimore?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
That sounds about
So
right.
what's the size of this one, Jill?
All right. So I am bringing this one up. Hold on one second. This
Asking,
one.
asking price is 310,000. And here's the photos of it.
This one
So you
is
got,
20 acres.
oh, beautiful.
Is this the
20
one I
acres.
graphed it? Yep.
Yep.
Yep. 20.15 acres. So
Nice.
they are asking 310,000 for this. But wow, that's a lot of land. You can see the
Yeah.
pictures there.
So it's
If
over by
Scott scrolls through
Gratiot
them.
and Arlington. Here you
Yeah.
see a map of it. So there's some of those there, and this is listed by our good friend. This is from Darlene Garcia. So
Okay.
Darlene's got this property for sale. So if this looks like something you might be interested, or any other pieces, let us know. Give us a call. Our numbers are on the screens there for you to reach us. This is also Arlington, same area there. This one is also Darlene's, and this one is 10.10 acres. We'll just do a quick view of these ones here. 155,000 for 10 acres. That's awesome. Looks like a great area. I really enjoy the Richmond area. They have a wonderful downtown area, and absolutely love it out there.
Yes. Yeah.
You can get some nice houses out there for a good price compared to over here.
Yeah. Now that one is
Maine,
well and septic for that property.
very good. Okay, next one. This one is in Fairhaven, Ira Township, and 65,000 for this one. 3.86 acres. That looks nice.
Yeah. They did a
A
nice
lot of
job.
nice open land there. Very
Yeah.
nice. And this is Yolanda's. So she's got that one listed, 65,000. And is it prepped for zoning, zoned residential. So you can build on it.
And that one also,
Alright.
so well, it says well and septic are needed on the property.
Okay.
So that would be something you would have to have added.
Yep. All right, 269,000 for this one here. 14.88 acres in Oakland Township. That's another area that's very much in demand. Mark
Yeah.
Romano has this one listed. And let's see, well and septic. Where's well and septic? Anyways, we'll just, oh, it's just the one photo.
Now it says developer special, 4 lots can be built on this one.
Very good.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So 4 lots divided by 270. What's that math? Jill, my brain's not working right now.
65,000. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. So very good.
2,000.
Nice.
But yeah, so that one does need well and septic on that one.
Yep. And that, like we said, that's Oakland Township. That's very desirable out there. That's right by the Paint Creek Trail. Jill and I run on that for our training.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful area.
Yeah. So this one here, where it takes us back. This is Jody Bruce. She's a realtor over at our office. Her husband Todd Bruce does mortgages,
Yeah.
and she's got this vacant land available for just under 35,000. 4.56 acres. This is in Riley Township, in St. Clair County. So you can see here, she's got an overview map showing it's a very long lot.
And she's got in her notes here, no worries for crowded subdivisions with cookie cutter houses or homeowners associations telling you what to do. It
Very
offers
nice.
3 feet of frontage on Dunn Road, and the land
Nice.
surrounds the other 3 sides. And then it says also well and septic would need to be put in on this property as well.
Okay, and it is part of K-Pac Community School District. I like that area up there. I used to have some in-laws who lived out that way. So when we would go out there to visit, I always found K-Pac also has a very nice downtown area. And then the properties out there, there's a lot of houses out there where you can get 5-10 acres of land and a pond and all that, a nice giant pole barn. You know, it's when you live in suburbia for so long, those kind of lands just sound so nice to me.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. You know, people up there. What's weird is though, when you live out there, a common thing you hear is gunshots.
Oh yeah.
Because people
Yeah.
hunt on their property.
Right.
They're allowed to
Yeah.
hunt on their property.
Yeah.
When I first started going out there, I'm like, was that a gun? He's like, oh yeah, you hear that all the time.
Hit the ground.
Oh. Yeah, I know. Am I supposed to duck and cover? What's going on here?
Serpentine as you go into your car.
Right. Now here's an interesting one. Rick Ossos has this one listed. This is in Roseville. You don't often hear of vacant land in Roseville. $9,900, 0.1 acre of land, which that's a small lot, but you got to remember we're now in the suburbs where those are the type of lots you have for, you could build a small little 1,000 square foot house or something on that.
Yeah.
But
this is
yeah,
10 mile between Gratiot and Kelly, Frazo Road. Kind of give you the area of Roseville that it's located in.
It's a great location. You can see nice backyard.
Yep. Public water.
You can see so you've got the access point for the driveway already put in, so you would have to put the driveway in for the rest of it. But so you can kind of see the style of homes that are in the area for the neighbors. Like I said, you're probably going to be seeing 800 to 1,000 square foot homes in that area. I'm guessing, just going from memory, in that area. Little ranches, nice.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So we got this one that we could help you buy. Great price. Let's see here. Next, number 8, also Roseville. This is over by 10 Mile. Oh, 10 Mile in Pinehurst. I did a long time ago. I bought a house and flipped it over on Pinehurst. Nice area. Only $4,750, and it gets you 0.2 acres.
Yeah. Okay.
What does the description say for this one? Looks wonderful.
All right. Description. It says buildable lot with all utilities at the street. Walk at your leisure. Located at the corner of 10 Mile and Pinehurst.
That's nice. Great location. Look at that shot. Great photo. It doesn't even feel like you're in Roseville. Nice.
No, it doesn't.
Very nice. And our friend Mark Romano is the listing agent for that one. Just have a couple more we'll go through. Like we said, and these are just ones that we have listed in our office. But if whatever your needs are, we can do the search accordingly and help you buy it. But what a great time right now with a lot of people maybe holding back on making purchases. Take advantage of this. If you've been wanting vacant land, call us. We'll hook you up. We'll get that offer in and get you hooked up. And then when all the shelters in place get lifted, you can start building.
Yeah.
So let's see, who do we have here? Also, another Roseville. This is interesting. Lee Johnson has this one. So this is just under 25,000, 0.15 acres. So once again, a normal subdivision size lot. Looks like so it looks like the garage and driveway are already in. What's the description say?
That looks like a long driveway there.
Wait a minute.
Description.
Is this not?
It says your garage is already built and the driveway is in. Vacant lot with 2-car garage. Garage currently in storage by the owner. The original home has been removed. Utilities are at the street. Great opportunity for someone who wants to build and needs a place to store their materials.
Yeah, this is great having the garage already built, because having a place to store your materials is huge. So what a bonus to already have the garage there, and all you have to worry about is building the house. So that's very nice.
Yeah.
Great listing by Lee there. So give us a call if that looks good to you. What was the crossroads? This is Roseville Schools, 10 Mile and Frazo.
Yeah. This is east of Kelly, west of Frazo.
Yeah, another great one there. Let's see here. Okay, just 2 left here. This one is on Melody in St. Clair Township. So this is St. Clair County. Once again, this is now a little bit more north on this one. They're asking just
153 Melody.
153 Melody. Yep. This is Rosalie Iree's listing. Just under 40,000 and 0.27 acres of land. And so here you can see the little arrow pointing to where it is. And then last but not least,
public water and public sewer.
Public water. Oh, that's good. It's
And it
nice
says
when
it's
the
very
hookup
close
is-
to the St. Clair Golf Club. So if you like to golf, that may be of interest to you.
Okay, and then this one is 154 Melody, which is the other side of the street there. It's the other corner from the other one. So you've got both corners for sale. So hey, if you have a family situation, you guys could build across the street from each other.
That would
And
be nice.
yeah.
You and I are seeing a trend where families are moving loved ones in or want to be
Mhm.
close to their loved ones. So this would be definitely something nice that if you're looking to build, you could build each, you and your family member a new home.
Yeah. Yeah, very good. Well, that's awesome. So we're hitting the one hour mark. Was there anything else you wanted to cover, or have you done any drawings?
No, I have not. I need to do that. Maybe tonight I'll have some time. So today I went for a run. I did about 3.5 miles and I was really pleased. As a runner, you're always trying to go a longer distance and at a faster pace. So today I decided I wasn't going to look at my watch. I was just going to do the run. I pressed start at the beginning of the run and then at the end I hit stop. And I didn't look at it the whole way through. And I thought I'm just going to run at a pace that feels comfortable and good to me. And I was pleasantly surprised. I ran quicker than I normally do. It was like 9.49 minutes per mile. So
Yeah, you had a
I was
great
pleased with
pace.
it. Yeah, I
I
was
was
really pleased
slow.
with that.
I was at like 10 and a half or something. I forget what I was at. No, I would think I was 11. Yeah, I was 11 because I was 33. I did 3.1 miles today.
I think you were 10.4 something. I thought I looked at your
Is
pace.
that, oh, that's right,
Um,
10:42. I was 10:42
yeah,
a mile. I'm pretty sure
yeah.
that's what it
So
was.
that's still
Yeah.
good, but I don't know, for you, Scott, but for me, it just is a great stress reliever, pounding that cement. And it's nice just to get out and see what everybody's doing. Of course, I'm very safe. If I'm coming up close to people, I will move on to, like, if they're in the sidewalk, I'll move to the road. Because you don't want anyone to feel like you're too close to them when you're outside. So I make sure that I keep a nice distance between me and other people. But after the run, I just feel like I can take on the world. I feel like, all right, I've taken good care of my body today. I've exercised it. It helps towards my goal of losing some more weight. So, I got that done today. Played some games with my kids, which I really enjoyed. We've been working on a 1,000-piece puzzle. So that's been out on our kitchen table for about the last 5 days or so. And we just, we'll sit a few minutes here and there and just plug away at it. And then, played some board games today. So I don't know. I kind of relaxed a little bit more today, but maybe I'll get some drawing in tonight. How about you? Did you do anything exciting?
No.
You had your podcast this morning.
I had it's been a busy day. I had my podcast this morning. Then I been doing a lot of cooking today. So today I did made 14 hard-boiled eggs. I had to make a batch of my turkey chili. Did the podcast. I did a 3.1 mile run. We've got 3 closings we're coordinating right now, and it looks like they're all going to happen on Monday. Knock
Yes,
on
you
wood.
were very busy coordinating that today. I appreciate all your hard work on that.
Yeah, so a lot's been happening. I thought I would share this here. This is my drawing tablet here. So I thought I would share what I've been working on as far as these go. So this here is my new logo. And did I cover this yesterday? I don't think I did. So
I think we did with Brett. We talked about it briefly, but let's go over it again because maybe some people didn't catch our podcast yesterday.
yeah, so let's see here. Oh yeah, with Brett. So I did cover these already.
Yeah.
This is my new logo. So I'll reveal the name. It's Bardstone Publishing. So what you got is the B, the lowercase b here, and that's a little P in there actually for publishing. So I wanted to incorporate that. Someone pointed out it's kind of similar to the Beats logo, I guess, by Dr. Dre.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, he uses a lowercase b also. A ton of people do. I personally think they look like they stole their logo from Target because the circle for the B is in the center. I don't use their product, so I didn't even know that that's what it looked like. I was
Yeah,
toying with some different layouts to incorporate a B and a P together. And this is what I finally came up with. So
I
that's,
like it. I like the
yeah.
grainy look you gave to it.
Yeah, I'm trying to design stuff because I have friends who have a t-shirt company called T-24. I want to get some t-shirts made up and I'll have them do
Yeah,
it. And I want to give it this grunge look. It'll be on black shirts with that. So that's my goal
love
with
it.
that.
Love it.
Yeah.
I definitely want to get one when you start selling them.
So let's
I
see.
predict, because as I've mentioned, I get to see a little bit of the backside of all this being put together. And I would not be surprised if we see a movie someday with some of these ideas you've come up with for a storyline. So,
No, I wouldn't mind that at all. So the next logo I did is my upcoming story called The Essentialed, and it says "Welcome to your new normal." And this is coming in 2021. I'm in the phase of just writing the rough outline right now. I've got plans for how I'm going to move that forward. So there's that one. And then last but not least is the one I'm actively doing, Crimson Shadows. There's the logo design for that. You'll see it pop up in a moment. And that one, this one takes place in 1889 London, England, and it's a little bit Jack the Ripper, some vampires, you got some demons, some angels, you got all kinds of craziness all
yeah.
colliding together.
Are you able to
As
maybe just
worlds
share
collide.
one picture from that, or are you saving that as a surprise?
I do post them on my page. Let's see if I say open, Bardstone, Crimson Shadows. Um, I'll share page number 7 that recently got done. So you can see there, this is page 7. So J. Travis Smith is handling the pencils. My friend Kevin Miner is handling the inks. And then I'm doing the colors and layouts and writing. So here you can see more of the detail as it gets really close.
Yeah,
Um,
great detail. I love the way you've added texture to it and the highlights,
yeah, I've
the
been really having
eyes.
fun with this.
Yeah,
I'm looking at, I think I'm going to do a Patreon page to help fund it. But yeah, this has been such a pleasure to work on and excited to see where it goes. Here's our reveal of Dracula. You can see a little bit of what he looks like. We're kind of inspired by, oh God, I suddenly blanked. Uh, the name Nostradamus popped in my head and now it's
Jack the
totally,
Ripper.
no, 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 no. Oh God, what's his name? It'll pop up at my head at like 2 in the morning. Anyways, now it's bugging me. Now I gotta do a search real quick.
Take your
Let's
time.
see. If I
We're all
go
in
here, we
quarantine.
can
We've got
do
plenty of time.
uh, famous vampires. I don't know why I'm blanking. Not. Oh, it's a Nostradamus is in my head, and now it's like completely. Uh, Nosferatu. That's what it is. Let me just vampire Nosferatu. There it is. Nosferatu. Oh, that was fun to figure out. So it was one of the first horror films of a vampire. It was from 1922. It was a silent horror film. You might recognize him here. Let's go to StreamYard. I will say stop, share, Nosferatu share. So here you'll see what Nosferatu looked like. So, uh, so that's the
Oh yeah,
classic look. So
yeah.
my
Okay.
original design was a little different, but my other artists are big horror fans and they're really inspired by these. So we've kind of gone more this direction. I still really like the design I had, so I think I'm going to use my design for a like a lieutenant, a second in command that I'm going to introduce later. So that way I can still keep this design, but also use my original design in another capacity. So
I
that's
love it.
Nosferatu
Yeah.
there. So I thought it might be fun and daring and scary all at once. No, just kidding. If I go back to this, I can get this off. I was thinking I could do a fast sketch.
All right. Show us
So,
what you got.
so what I was thinking of doing is just saying open new. Let me open up the, oh, where's my desktop? Desktop. I'll just use my blank template here. Open. So I was just gonna do, like, the other day I started a sketch, but my stream was going just awful and couldn't really see anything I was doing because it kept interrupting. So I thought, you know what, I'll do a very fast sketch just to kind of give the indication of what I was trying for. So let's see here. We're gonna go there. Data. Gotta do my settings. So when you're drawing on the computer, you can have different settings. And one thing I like to do is make it so it's kind of like a pencil. So this is how I make it look like a pencil. See here, let's see. So I can go lighter or darker, see?
Oh yeah.
So that's just using the stylus. It has a special pressure point on it. And there's settings where you can do, now I have to go back in here because there's one key setting I didn't do. It's this one here, there. So as I push harder or lighter, see, it also gets darker
Oh
or
yeah.
lighter.
Yep.
So it's like a pencil, see?
Okay.
So if I'm doing a bigger area, I can,
Oh,
as
nice.
I see, so I can
Yeah.
get some different effects depending how I draw it. So I'm going to do this first. So this level, I'm going to erase the what I did. All right. So I'm going to just show, like with this little girl here, how so I start off just doing, I always start with the circle for the head. That's the starting point, okay? And then
One thing that I have learned, you've given me some tips as I'm trying to learn to draw, is that when you're drawing children, their head is much bigger in proportion than what you would think it would be to their body.
they're freaking huge. Yeah, their proportions are much different. So then I'm kind of, this is where the jaw will be. This will be where the eyes go. So like the eyes, I just kind of start roughing in here. Everything's rough, okay? And as I go, I'm just blocking in where I'm going to want everything to be. And so right here, what everything ends up ultimately being based on the eyes. So I'm just blocking in where her smile is going to be. Because of the smile here, she's going to have, her cheeks will be rounded, chin, jawline, forehead. She's wearing, the girl who I was looking at, now I'm not looking at the picture now, I'm just going from memory right now. The girl I was looking at, she was like, I sponsor a child on World Vision, and it was one of the photos of one of the children that they have. So right now I'm just roughing in where I'm going to put stuff. So right now, it's not meant to be perfect by any means. I'm going to fix this as I go. She had it's not called a turban, it's a head wrap thing. I forget what it's called. But she was wearing one of those. Now see my position, I'm running out of room at the top of the screen here. So one of the nice things about drawing digitally is I can move it. And it's like, okay, I'm going to have to make it a little smaller so I can fit how I want into the screen. There we go.
So if you were
So,
drawing with pencil and paper, which is what I do, would you have to start all over then because it wasn't proportionally what you were looking for?
but it depends on my need for the picture, because I could just say, well, I don't have to have the top of her turban and I'll just keep drawing accordingly. So one thing with kids to keep in mind, they got big heads, which means when you do their necks, you give them a skinny neck. The skinny neck helps accentuate the size of the head.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll do that. There, okay. So this is roughly what she's going to look like, okay? Now, what I do here is when I'm drawing digitally, now if this was pencil, I would actually be drawing a little lighter on everything and then going over it with ink for my final lines and then erasing all my pencil lines off so you don't see the lines, okay? So what I do here though is I'm going to make this a sub layer. So I go in here, I'm going to change the color to a blue. Now, this kind of goes back to old drawing techniques. You would use a blue pencil when you used to sketch out comic pages. The reason being is old printers used to not be able to print blue. So when you would scan it in, the blue would be almost invisible. Almost like green for when people are filming with green screen. Well, back in the day, blue was not picked up by the photocopiers. So you would draw the base layer in blue, then you would ink over it. And when they photocopied it for the comic books, all the blue would just become white. It would disappear. Okay? So let's see here. So now I'm gonna go here to my lines. Now I'm gonna do my final line. So now I go in and I start drawing over. I start tracing my own work. But now that I know where everything's gonna be, I can be a little bit more precise in what I do. Okay? So first thing I'm gonna do are the eyes, because the eyes are everything. The eyes are the window to the soul. You get the eyes wrong, you might as well call it
and
today.
One of the things I have a problem with, I always think the eyes that I draw somehow end up looking maybe zombie-like.
It just takes practice.
Human. Yeah.
It just takes practice. So like I'm going in there and I'm putting in the, now because she's a girl, you always accentuate the eyelashes. You just a tiny touch. You don't have to go crazy and draw every single eyelash. It's just giving the appearance of a little bit more fullness to those eyes there. Okay, so let's go here. So as I do it, she's got her nose. Now with the nose, especially with children, the bridge of the nose you want to minimize as much as possible. Women and children, you minimize the bridge of the nose, making it more pronounced. Also with African Americans, a lot of them do have a very, also with Asians, they have a very shallow bridge to the nose, whereas white males tend to have much more pronounced bridge to the nose here.
Yeah.
So you'll go much heavier with shading and everything else when you're drawing a white male. This is an African American little girl. So you want to be careful with how much you actually put here. So I just did this little line just for a slight suggestion.
So if you put too many lines, that can make them look older or aged, correct?
Yes, lines make them older or aged. So everything's about minimizing. Like in this area here, can you see where I'm moving the mouse? By the eyebrow and eyes here. That area, there is definition there, but if you put a hard line there, it suddenly looks too harsh. So you just want to put like a slight indentation there, just a slight bit to indicate that there is a something going on there. Now, she's got the upper eyelid, and you just put there. Some people have very shallow ones. Some have eyes where they're very pronounced. So we're going to put that there. Then you have the under eyelid. Now, this part, especially with children and women, you got to be very careful of, because it's there, but if you go dark, it looks like age lines, and you don't want that. You don't want it to look older. So you just want to do a very slight bit of thing there. So I'm going to show you here. Let me move the rough lines. I'm going to move the rough lines up to the black lines there. Okay, so now I can easily go back and forth. So if I shut it off, you can see without the blue lines what the drawing looks like right now. And then I'll add them back in. So you can see how I'm using my own drawing as a guide now. So now the nose, once again, you got to be careful with the nose. Because she's so young, there's not going to be a lot of definition. Most of the definition is the nostrils and the bottom parts. The upper parts you're going to want to keep to just very, very light shading. So once again, I'll shut that off. You can see what I did for her nose there. See? You don't want to draw too much. Okay. Key part coming up here, the eyeballs. You need the pupils and the iris of the eye. So we're gonna, this is the fun part for me. I always enjoy this part. Because this is where you add the life. The life to the person is in this spot. So because I'm drawing in multiple layers right now, first I'm going to do the black part of the eye. So the upper eyelid actually casts a shadow. Okay. So I put the line going straight across the iris. I make it pure black. Okay. Okay. Then what I do, you'll see, let's see, there you go. Then what I do is I draw the pupil in, which is in the middle. Okay.
See, now I've never drawn a shadow on the pupil from the eyelid. So that's an interesting technique.
Yep. Because your eyelid actually goes over the top of the eye. So it'll cast a shadow. So even on the white part of the eye, you're going to do some very light shading. Not as dark as on the iris of the eye, but if you just go really light there, it makes such a difference because your eye is round and it will cast a shadow like a ball. If you were drawing a ball, the areas that are getting hit by light would be lighter than the areas that are not. So next is inside the iris of the eye itself. Your eye is not solid. It's got like, if you ever look at an eye really close, it's got a whole bunch of little lines, you know? So
that's another thing that I'm doing wrong. I've been filling that in. I do know the technique of leaving a little white spot to make it look like there's light bouncing off the eye, but I have been filling in that whole iris instead of doing the lines.
All right, so you can shade it in fully. It's just you want to make sure you capture very subtle line work in there to show some things. So I'm going to shut this off so you can see where it's at now.
I have been looking more zombie-like because I've just been coloring it in.
Right. So you see how I did the iris there?
Yeah.
Okay. So then what I'm going to do is while we're on this stage, I'm going to do white. And this is where you just put, adding those dots makes such an insane difference in the overall everything.
Yeah, it makes the eye come to life.
Yep. And now the eyeball part, the white part of the eye, I'm going to go in and just sketch really quick a little bit of white on it. Just to, now the benefit I have is right now, if you notice, I'm drawing on a gray background. So what that allows me to do is focus only on the purest whites and the purest blacks. And the gray acts as my midtone. By just doing that little bit with the eye, adding that little bit of white. See how the iris suddenly is gray?
Yes.
It suddenly has more color to it, more
Yeah, well, it
shading.
added depth to the eye.
Yeah. Yep. And what I always tell people, my thing, and I say it all the time, and I believe it. Shadows, the dark parts of shadows are what gives a drawing depth. But it's the white parts, the highlights that you add. See, like this little thing, little tiny things where I go like this. Those little things are what gives it life.
Yeah.
So the shadows give it depth. The white is what gives it life. It just starts coming to life. You got all of the shadows and highlights are the shadows are all based on where the lighting source is, right? But the whites, you get some crazy white spots when you're looking close at a face and at skin, because you have all these different angles and little folds that occur that will reflect light in the weirdest places sometimes. So you adding just little specks here where, you know, little brighter in one spot than another, it suddenly starts coming to life in a way that it wasn't before, you know? So I'm gonna go back to shading here.
I'm just
So,
plugging in my phone charger here while we're talking.
yeah. So, oops, I still got it on white. Let's take that off. I gotta go back to my black because now I'm going back to doing some shading. So the light source for this is coming from above. So we're gonna have her, I'm just gonna do some sketchy type shading.
So if you were drawing on a white piece of paper, which is what I draw on, to show the highlights like on the nose, I then have to do the reverse. I have to add more shadowing around the areas that I would want to act as a highlight then.
Yes. So when you're drawing on gray toned paper, like you can buy paper that's gray tone, right? It saves you a ton of time because all of those mid-tone areas you don't have to touch. Because it's all the paper is the mid-tone.
So maybe I need to buy some white paper.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine doing it on the white paper. It's just you treat it different.
Yeah.
So because you can't draw white, the paper is white. So what you do is you're strategically shading in places that will accent certain places and give you the feel, you know. All right, so I'm going to move along here because I don't want this to take too long. So we got her smiling here. Let's add the side of her face here. Now this is another key part, is the profile. So you got her forehead here. Another thing is, so with girls versus boys, girls tend to have much more of a vertical forehead before it, and then it starts sloping back, whereas men tend to have a more of a slight slope to it, and more of brow ridge. So it's very subtle, but it is a difference between the two when you're drawing, to know there's a slight difference in how you do that. So here I got the rounded cheek. You got, especially since she's young, I want to give it some nice roundness, and then you got the chin, which pokes down. Now we got her jawline on this side, and then it's going to pop down slightly for her chin. Okay. We got her ear. I'm going to draw her. I absolutely love drawing ears all the time. I find ears to be,
there's so many lines and ridges in ears. Like,
yeah, it's, you learn ears are very unique to different people. There's different types of lobes, there's different types of curves that go on, but like, so here I'll show, so you can see what I have here for the lines. So you have the outer ear, but you got this little thing here, and you got the way it curves. It tends to be the same for most people. There's differences, of course, but I have so much fun with ears. They're honestly my favorite part of drawing on the
Really?
face. It is, and here's why. I'm about to show you why. So with the ears, this is the fun part. So it's the way the lighting occurs. So here, this overlaps this part. Okay, so I'm doing the shadow being cast by that upper ridge of the ear, right?
Yeah.
Then you get here and you get like this little, you get this like little Y shape that usually occurs. So just do that. Then in here you get where this goes into the inner ear canal. So I shade here, and then it gets really dark as it gets more to the center. Now you get back to here. Now you got this part that flows over. You get a little bit of shading that occurs there. Then you get some shading underneath the earlobe that occurs to where it connects. But then that same ear, you now go to the whites to add those highlights. And this is where you get some, you can just, I go with some intense whites where things occur. And it just gives you such a different feel once you add those lines. And I just always enjoy the way that I feel like the ear really brings a lot of it to life. Oh, that was too much. Back off there. And then you got the contours of the cheek here.
So you're drawing this from memory right now?
Yeah. Once I draw somebody, they stick in my head for, I can draw them over and over again for about a week. Yeah. Where, because it's the memory of my hand movements of where I go now. But keep in mind, because this is going from memory, she's a little more stylized now. She's more of a character than a portrait. Like it's slightly more cartoony looking than if I'm looking at her, because I'll have her proportions be a little more accurate if I'm looking at her. Yeah. So since I'm going from memory, it's a little bit more of a cartoonish look, you know?
Yeah.
Actually, it'll be, let's see here. So I got that. So now let's do her headscarf. Now, if I go to rough line, because she's a kid, I'm going to draw the top of her skull. So that first circle I did was more her face, right? But let's draw out the skull. Now, remember, it's in blue. Because being a child, they're going to have a bigger head, right? So you want to make sure, like, see how I have the scarf drawn?
Yeah.
I probably need to make it a little bit more. I didn't have it quite big enough to cover her head properly, so because her skull would have been too small underneath. So by drawing that out fully, it's telling me I had to make this part slightly bigger. See what I'm doing?
Yeah.
So, okay. So now that I have that, I'm going to go back to my black lines to draw over it. First thing I'm going to draw here is the knot, so to speak, of where this all comes together. So you just got to try to imagine how the fabric is going.
See, I would think that would be challenging just to draw a knot because there's so many wrinkles and folds and.
Right. Yeah, drawing fabric is different than drawing skin. You know, things end up in a different place. But so there's my rough. Also, the way you shade it, like with fabric tends to absorb light. So you're not going to have harsh white lines on the fabric. You're going to do subtle white lines for where the highlights are. Unless
only
it's
if you
something
were drawing it as like a silk type material where there's reflection, yeah.
Right, or a leather. leather has a very intense reflection, or like spandex kind of, some latex.
Yeah.
Those would have sharp, shiny lines to it. So kind of like hair. Hair, you don't want to draw every single line. It's not about that. It's about capturing the flow. Okay. So
that's
same with,
another error I'm making. I'm drawing like a million little lines to try to reflect the hair.
right. So here we got her headdress kind of, the fabric is kind of twisting. I'm imagining, I'm picturing in my head how the fabric might be twisting as she wraps it around. So I'm creating the flow. See how I'm doing these lines to create flow?
Yes.
So, and where it's twisting and going around, you might have some pieces that kind of stick out and to wrap around, So that's what I'm picturing here. And there's no, now if I'm doing it exactly from her, I might try to match it. But since this is more of a stylized take on her right now, I'm picturing it in my head the way the fabric might flow. And you might get areas where you get some items like this. And then she has a little bit more that sticks up here. So we'll have this piece kind of go up. So let's see how that looks when I remove the rough lines. So you can see where it's at right now.
Looks good already.
All right, so next we will, I gotta do her mouth. Well, might as well get her neck in there. That's too sharp. There we go. Being a child, a lot of times children, you see the neck bones really well. So, and I forget what, she had some kind of dress on. I forget what kind, so we'll just give her something like this. Maybe some lacy collar that I can go in with the whites to kind of punch it up. Collarbone to give reflection because you got hard bone there. All right, almost done. Let's get that smile going. So when you smile, that upper lip gets stretched and it becomes very thin across the top. So you just kind of figure out where that center point of the lip is and just give it a small, because you're stretching it out. Now, one thing I'm looking at, I'm noticing her smile's a little crooked. So I'm going to actually, this is the wonderful part of digital drawing. I don't have to erase it and redraw it. I can grab it and just slightly fix it and put it where I wanted it.
Oh, that's a nice option.
Yeah, that's where, when you're drawing professionally, deadlines are such a tight thing. It's so important to hit deadlines. This is a tool. It accelerates what you're doing. You still have to know proper drawing technique. You don't, it's very easy to use a digital tool too early. It's kind of like learning math. Sure, you can go right to learning how to do math with a calculator, but to utilize the calculator properly, you should learn how to do math first without a calculator, because the calculator should only be a tool in accelerating what you're doing, not replacing what you're doing.
Yep, that makes sense.
So that's what this is. With digital, you can become very dependent upon the tools and not know how to draw. You know, I've seen it with people. I know artists who, you know, when we're at comic book conventions, people like to commission us to do pieces, you know, and there are some artists, they've been drawing digital for so long, they don't know that they've lost their confidence to draw in public, and they won't do commissions, they won't draw in front of people, because they've gotten too used to doing digital, you know. So you got to be careful. It's you know, everybody's got their own thing. It's just the more you rely on digital, the weaker your hand-eye coordination gets. And so, like for me, the way I counter it is I make sure to do, whenever possible, like those sketch covers I like to draw, because those are all done that way. Or when I'm at conventions, I like to make sure I draw using live at the shows, because it's that exercise. It's keeps you fresh.
Yeah.
Now, when you're doing lips.
Bless you.
Oh, thank you. That was a cough, not a COVID-19 cough, though. When you're doing lips, when you look at lips up close, they're very textured. You know, the skin has to stretch and contract. So you end up with, if you look really close, there's these lines that you get. So you don't want to do it as a solid shading. At the same time, there's a roundness to the lip. So the inner lip ends up being shaded. The lips up at the top of the lower lip get shaded because the top lip is hanging over it. Now, right now, as I look at it, the way I'm sitting, now I'm sitting in front, looking straight on. I see I got the mouth is not angled right. So this is one of the techniques I can do here. So I can grab it once again.
It makes it look like she has kind of like a protruding underbite, or
yes,
you know what I mean?
Yep. And this is where you want to evaluate your work while you go. I'm going to do this. Edit, transform, distort. There we go. So see, that's better.
Yeah.
So now I just got to go in and fix it up a little bit. Now, if I was doing this on paper, I'd have to erase and just redraw it. And sometimes that happens where you might have to redraw it 3 or 4 times. Sometimes there will be some feature on a person where you keep looking at it, it's like, what am I doing wrong? What am I missing on this person?
Erase and redraw a lot.
Right. So let's see here. I'm adding now the shading to the lip. The lower lip is going to also have shading. And then my favorite part is adding the highlights all the time. So just getting that texture of the lips in there. See how it's very sketchy, right?
Yeah.
Then you get the white, the fun part. Now the white, you're going to go in there, and the upper lip will have a little crease on the upper lip that will usually catch light. So you end up with this little light spot right above the lips. Then on the lips themselves, right about here is where you do some sharp, some bright lines there. See how I did it?
Yeah.
You don't connect it because those little ridges in the lips will end up breaking up the reflection. So you just add a couple little dots like that, and it makes a big difference. Okay, teeth. Teeth are difficult. What most people want to do is draw every tooth, and you
Yes.
get this almost like a jack-o'-lantern type smile. You don't want to do that. Your teeth, unless you have gaps between the teeth, your teeth are gonna kind of flow together in pictures, and you'll just have subtle. So what I'll do first is I go in with in my shading layer, and I'm just very, very, very softly adding shadow that's going to be cast from that upper lip. Okay.
Okay.
The light's coming down, the upper lip is
Yeah.
hanging over, so it's going to cast a shadow. Next, I go to the white layer, and that is just simply you add very light the suggestion of the teeth. Actually, that one, let me go back a little. What I did wrong there is I should have started with the middle and worked my way out to make sure the front teeth line up. So I'm gonna go back. There we go. So I find the middle, and that's where I start. There we go. And I just give a light impression. And just where your teeth aren't perfectly straight. They're slightly rounded. So parts of it will pick up light more than other parts. So
Yes.
and keep in mind too, as the teeth get farther back, less light's going to hit them because they're going into your mouth. So just add a slight. Now your bottom teeth get even less because they're usually slightly underbitten. So I just go through and add a couple little parts. So now when I back up, you're just getting an impression.
Right.
You know, you're not seeing harsh lines throughout. Okay. All right. So let's bring this to a close. I have all the major features drawn, right? I don't need my rough lines anymore, but here's just to remind you what it looked like. This was before and then after. Okay.
Very
When I
nice.
take all the highlights off, see
Yeah.
just those whites, what a difference the white
It
makes.
brings it to life. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes such a difference there. So let's just go in there now. I'm just going to add some very rough shading everywhere. We're going to make this fast. So I'm just going to go in now, and the turban or turban. What do you call these? Headscarf?
Yeah, I would say headscarf. Now,
Okay.
another thing I'm curious about is how you make a cheekbone appear without doing, like harsh lines.
Well, kind of what I did. It's all about where you put strategic shading. Now, because I'm on grayscale, I have a little different technique than if I was drawing on white. Because, if I do this, if I go to this, color overlay, like if it's on white, say okay. So now I can turn it on and off. So see, but even without being able to do the white, you can still see how the shading works,
Yeah.
but it has a different feel. So drawing on grayscale is a little different, but but when I'm doing grayscale, less is more. Just remember that less is more, because once you go just slightly too far, it's a whole different feel. I should say it depends. How do I put it? When you're dealing with women or children, less is more. If you're drawing someone older or a male, then you can get away with a little bit extra, because those lines can add character or whatever when it's, but when you're, especially when you're drawing someone who's young, those little bits will suddenly um,
Age them.
age them very
Yeah.
fast. So here we got,
Found that when I draw my kids, if I'm not careful with the lines, they sort of look very old.
right. And the other thing is pressure. You know, if you're drawing with pencil, or even if you're drawing with like blue ballpoint pen, very light. You want to just be very, very light in what you draw to get that feel. So like with this one, I'm just going light now to add shadow to give slight impression of the nose area. And I'm extending this dark, very slight bit of shading over the bridge of the nose to help show the bridge of the nose is not very, very much, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so next, let's see. Let's see if I can make this look, try and go fast at the same time. So one of the challenging areas is going to be, I see how that's looking. I'm not liking it. So I'm going to erase those sketchy lines, get rid of those, because using the hash technique I'm doing, I'm going to have to actually do quite a bit of it to make it smooth enough for being a child. So I'm just getting rid of it. That's one nice thing about digital drawing too. You can be a little more risky in what you choose to
Yeah.
do because you can back it out.
Yeah.
You can
You
do
know,
it
with
and say,
pencil,
oh,
yeah. When I use pencil and I have to erase a lot, it starts getting smudgy looking.
yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just I got the shadowing on the eyes the way I like it. So I'm just going to focus on some highlights instead of putting all, on the forehead. I'm going to go with you've got this area here where you're going to have some light. Now, because this is digital, I can do this. I'm going to grab it, and then I'm going to say filter, and I'm going to say blur. And I can blur what I did.
Oh, very
There.
nice.
So you can do that. Now, it's still not working, so I'm just going to get rid of it altogether. I didn't like it. So let's just focus elsewhere because it's not quite, actually, I think the problem is I went too big with I think I just got to do. This was a sunny picture, so she had quite the glare on her forehead here, but I don't know if it's coming out the way I want it. Maybe when I add the rest. Let's go to here. So you had asked about cheeks. So like here, the cheeks are going to be
That's just something you're just adding random lines, but it works.
but I'm trying to make the lines flow. Notice the direction is the
Yeah.
direction of the cheek. So Let's see. It's okay. It's not great. I think it was better before I started adding all that. This is the less is more. So I'm just gonna knock all that off. And I'm just gonna focus on the major highlights instead of try and go for the whole thing. The problem is the style I'm going with right now isn't working for that many hash lines. So I gotta go with the more simple. And sometimes that's what you do is you just you feel it out as you go. And it's like sometimes you start putting too much detail and you're like, ooh, I gotta back that off. And sometimes you hit a home run. So here I'm gonna add the shadow for under her neck. That way, and then you got this here, a little bit there. Anyways, I think that might be where I stop for this. Let's see, I'll just do a little bit more just to finish her off. She's got, give it a final look. Almost done. Hopefully this isn't boring.
Well, I'm learning a lot. So I think anyone who's interested in drawing, this is very helpful just to see how you do it and just learning about shadowing and highlights and what a difference it makes in your drawings.
Right. So just to show you, because I'm doing the harsh lines right now. So I'll do a very fast step here. This will be very fast just to give an idea of what my next step would be. So I have all the sharp white lines where I want them. This is where I would create a next layer under it. New layer. Okay. This is where I would do like a grayscale or a shadow there. So, and what I would do with this is change my setting. So right now I'm using what looks like a pencil, right? Setting. I'm going to switch it out so it's more of like an airbrush look by turning that off. And then what I can do here is this is where I can go really fast. And I can go like this.
Oh, wow.
So
that's nice.
this is how I typically do a lot of my shading, and I can do it really fast.
Oh, I love that option.
Yeah. And it's just a little different tool. It's a different tool than what you would do normally. But adding this little bit, I would do this to add some heavy shadow. Get that lip shadowed. And this is how I would get more of the subtleties in place, you know?
Yeah, it's making a huge difference already.
So just doing that a little bit will do that. And then I go in and do the same thing, but now with a layer for my highlights. So I set this as what's called a screen setting. And I go in, and this is where I can put the I don't know if you can see the difference there.
Oh, yeah. It gives it more of a skin tone look.
Right. So it's just a different technique for. So there you have it. And we'll call her done like that.
Well, I think she looks fantastic.
But there's one last part to really be finished.
I know what it is.
What,
You got to sign
what
your
is it?
name.
You gotta
Sign your
sign it.
name.
You gotta sign it. So I'll go in there. I'll go down here. I had the scatter thing on, so it's a little bumpy, but there you go. And then I might just to give it a final look, because this is very sketchy. Some ways you can give it a final look is you can go in with white when you do these, and this always gives it a nice little final feel. Is you give it like this sketchy outline.
Is that to create like light behind her?
Yeah, just gives
It makes her pop a little bit.
It makes it pop. That's what it does. It makes it pop. And you do it sketchy looking. It just gives it a finished feel. Like that.
Nice job.
And there you have it. And then it's a whole nother thing if you want to color it and do all that fun stuff.
Well, I learned a lot tonight. Thank you for sharing that.
You are welcome. Here, I'll show you one other technique. If I say, let me save as. I'll do a quick save of this one. So, oops. So one thing you do, the way you check your work is, I'll just flatten it down. But what you do is you flip it. If you flip your image when you're working in digital, edit. Oops, she's locked right now. I don't want it locked. Say okay. There we go. See how she looks right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Then edit, and then you say flip. When you're working in digital, you always flip your picture. Notice how she looks now.
Yeah.
She doesn't look right.
Yeah, her eyes look uneven and her jaw looks more pronounced.
Exactly. So as you're drawing, you constantly flip your picture back and forth, because what happens is you become blind to all of the inaccuracies that you're drawing. And by flipping it, this guy off camera, you and I talked, like one technique is to draw upside down, because it causes you to focus on what you're drawing versus what you think you're drawing. And so here you can see where the distortions are. So because of the angle I was sitting at or whatever, so edit, transform. Now, normally I would be doing this while I'm drawing, and then I could make the corrections in mid-draw, but let's see if just changing this up a little bit will matter. And I have a feeling I was distorted. See, there we go. That looks a little better, doesn't it?
Yeah.
See? So just by doing that little bit, say okay, and then I can flip it back, edit, transform, then you put it back to where it belongs, and she looks better already.
Okay. Interesting.
So what happens is you see things that aren't there because you're seeing it so much while you're doing it. So one thing I do is almost always, like if I finish a piece and I'm excited about it, I'll hurry up and post it. Um, but then the next day I wake up and look at it with fresh eyes and I'm like, oh, what did I do? I'm
Right.
not done. And then I would have then I make changes and I have to repost. Because when you look at it with fresh eyes, you realize, oh, that wasn't proper, you know.
Right.
So anyways, like now she looks much better than here. I'm gonna show you edit, transform, flip horizontal. So this is how she looked before I fixed her.
Okay.
See the difference?
Yeah.
See?
Oh, yes. Yep.
So, and the reason was the way I was sitting like this. So I'm slightly on the side. So it looked right while I was drawing it. But once
Right.
I sat up and looked straight on and I looked at it, I'm like, that doesn't look right. And sure enough, I skewed the picture slightly. So that's where they're skewed and then unskewed.
Well, one of the things I constantly repeat in my head as I'm drawing, this is something you have taught me, draw what you see, not what you think is there. And so as I'm drawing, I'm always reminding myself, draw what I see.
Yep. Yep. It's like Obi-Wan Kenobi says, your eyes deceive you. You can't trust them.
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I think that's a good example there of just see it looked good originally, but now you see the skewing and it's like, oh, that wasn't right.
Yeah.
But now it
Right.
looks right now that I fixed it.
Yeah.
Um, and then if you really want to get crazy, let's see here. We can do this, and then I can start adding my colors and giving her skin. And you can see how the skin,
Yes. That looks good.
I could start painting my colors on top if I wanted. So let's delete that out, delete there. There we go. So there you go.
Good
Voila.
job.
Final picture.
Fantastic. Yeah, I like it.
So I'll save as save her as a JPEG.
Too bad you didn't have the picture right next to you. You could show what the pic, the model looked like in the picture you were copying off of. I know you're doing it by
Um,
memory, but
well, let me see. Well, first of all, I can do this. So we have that one that I just drew. Here is the one I was drawing while looking at the picture. I didn't finish it though. So you can see she looks different there. See how she's,
yeah, her forehead's more prominent there,
yep,
and her nose.
yep. Well, I was trying to be much more detailed in this one versus this is more of a stylized, cartoony
Yeah.
character of her. Okay, so that's that. But I will. I wonder if I can find her. I mean, I'll cancel. Let me see if I can find her on here. So if I go to here, so when I searched for her picture, I think I just typed in, I think it was World Vision Child. I think I typed image. And if I put girl, let's try it. Oh, wait, what's this? Uh, Let's try girl. The other thing is, you know, it's weird. When I do a Google search on my phone versus my desktop, I get different results for the same search, I notice. Different things will
It
pop up.
tries to do a search based on things you've looked at in the past. I think it tries to predict.
No, but the problem is I did it on my phone. And I can't share my phone screen, so I'm assuming she looked.
Was she on the cover of a magazine? Is that what it was?
Well, it was a World Vision photo. Maybe if I take child out, maybe child is messing it up. Anyways, I had shown what she looked like the other day. Let me try this. This will be my last attempt. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see, where is she? Interesting. No, I don't see her. A little farther. No, I'm not finding her.
Well, maybe when
when
we
I
do
was
the
drawing
next
her,
talk, yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I was drawing her, I just pulled her up on my phone real quick and was just looking on my phone while I drew. So, oh, here she is. Found her. So open. Let's see if I say copy image. I'll paste her into here. Edit. Paste. So this is the girl.
Okay, cute. That's
Right. So there she is. So obviously I wasn't doing a portrait of her.
No, you still did good for going off memory.
Yeah, it's just she was my inspiration. It wasn't me attempting to make it exactly her. But yeah, so that's who was in my head.
Now, I
And
would
there's like
drawing
her
the
cartoon
hands.
version.
I would think drawing the hands the way she has them in front of her face would be very challenging.
That's part of why I chose her. So if I go back to my other one here, open. If I pull up I have a rough sketch line, rough lines. So here you can see, well, it's hard to tell. They're really, really sketchy, but her hands would go here. And
Yeah.
I was trying to plan where her body was going to be and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyways.
Well, very good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing with us your magic.
Yeah, it's late. It's 9:36.
Yeah.
This turned into a 2-hour podcast. Let's see here. So get to StreamYard. All right. Can't post comments. So on that note, you guys know how to find us. You know who we are. We are Team Titans of Real Estate out of Shelby Township, Michigan, with Realty Executives Hometown. Yesterday, when we did our show, I said Realty Hometown Executives.
That's all right. We've all got a lot on our mind right now. So
yeah. But yeah, this was fun. I had a blast. So thanks for joining us. Give us a call, 586-549-6096, or Jill is at
586-277-2145.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you very much and have a wonderful day.